All right, let's dive right into this explainer and completely master cURL. Think of it as the absolute Swiss Army knife of web requests. Whether you're pulling data, testing an API, or trying to automate a massive data extraction project, this tool is really the foundation of it all. Today, we're taking you from typing your very first basic commands in the terminal right up to scaling massive, uninterrupted data operations without getting blocked. Let's get to it.
So, here is our roadmap for the explainer today. First, the ultimate web request tool. Second, mastering get and post. Third, auth and handling redirects. Fourth, translating cURL to Python. And finally, scaling with proxy networks. Starting off with Section 1, the ultimate web request tool. Let's define the core engine powering so much of our automated data extraction.
So cURL actually stands for Client URL. It's a command line tool designed to transfer data to or from a server. And it mostly relies on your standard HTTP and HTTPS protocols. Now, if you're working on API testing, web scraping, or even just debugging why a specific web page isn't loading correctly, understanding this tool is absolutely essential. It is literally the most direct way to speak to a server, completely bypassing the web browser so it doesn't get in the middle and muddy the waters.
Moving right along to Section 2, mastering get and post. Let's look at the actual syntax and see how we can both pull and push data across the web.
What's really fascinating here is how incredibly simple the default GET request actually is. If you just type cURL followed by a web address, it automatically assumes you want to perform a GET request. That's how you retrieve data straight from a server. It's exactly what your browser does when you type in a URL and hit enter. But cURL brings that raw, unfiltered data straight back into your terminal.
But of course, we don't always just want to look at data, right? Sometimes we need to send it. When you need to push data to a server, say submitting a form or uploading a file, you simply inject the -x post flag into your command. That -x essentially tells cURL, hey, change the method from the default get to post. It's just so incredibly elegant and simple.
Now here's a crucial point. Sending data usually requires specific formatting, and as we know, modern APIs absolutely love JSON. To send JSON payloads, you just chain a couple of flags together. You use the -h flag to pass a custom header, basically telling the server, hey, expect application/JSON. Then you follow that up with the -d flag, which stands for data, to actually attach your JSON payload. Once you understand this combination, it unlocks almost any modern web API for you.
All right, Section 3, auth and handling redirects. Moving up to the next level, we have to navigate common hurdles like gated endpoints and tricky website architectures.
Very often, the data you're after is locked securely behind a login. But if you hit an endpoint that requires basic authentication, you don't need to write some complex script to get through it. You just utilize the -u flag, which stands for user, followed by your username, a colon, and your password. It's a remarkably straightforward way to pass your credentials right there in a single line of text.
And this brings us to another major hurdle, redirect loops. You know, how many times have you clicked a link and watched the URL change 2 or 3 times before the page actually loads? Well, by default, cURL doesn't follow those redirects. It'll just return a basic moved permanently error and completely stop. So adding the -l flag for location is pretty much mandatory for modern scraping. It forces cURL to faithfully follow the server wherever it bounces you until you hit the actual destination data.
Okay, Section 4, translating cURL to Python. We've mastered the terminal, but doing this one by one isn't going to scale. Let's look at automating this. Check out this side-by-side comparison. Translating our trusty cURL commands into Python using the super popular request library is a total game changer. Why? Because while cURL is perfect for quick, one-off testing and debugging, Python lets you loop the whole process. You could literally feed it a list of 100,000 URLs, store the responses directly into a database, and parse all that data automatically. Which brings us to Section 5, scaling with proxy networks. This is the ultimate boss fight. You've got the syntax, your Python scripts are ready to go, but now you need to execute millions of requests without getting banned. Listen, if you just run a loop on that Python script from your home Wi-Fi, you are going to be blocked in minutes. We all know the headache of waking up to a broken script because it triggered rate limits, got blocked by geo-restrictions, or just suffered an outright IP ban. Modern websites use sophisticated TCP/OS fingerprinting and usage monitoring to spot your automated requests. This is exactly why scaling requires real infrastructure. You simply can't just scrape naked. Now, the source material highlights Proxy Rack as an easy fix for this. Routing your cURL or Python requests through an IP rotation network requires just one simple -x flag.
That -x tells cURL to route its traffic through the proxy address you specify. So instead of the target website seeing your home IP address, they only see the proxy. And if you're using a rotating proxy API, every single request automatically gets a brand new IP address.
What makes this approach so powerful is the sheer variety of networks you can tap into. The documentation points out options like real residential IPs, which are perfect for those really challenging scrapes where you have to bypass strict bot detection. Then there are lightning-fast data center ports with over 20,000 unique IPs for bulk extraction, or even real 3G, 4G, and 5G mobile connections. With access to IPs from over 140 different countries, bypassing geo-restrictions becomes totally effortless.
Of course, scaling costs can easily skyrocket, which is why the source material really emphasizes transparent pricing. By matching your specific scraping use case to a flat monthly fee, like residential starting at around $50 a month for high success rates, or data center plans giving you uncapped bandwidth starting at $100 a month, you know exactly what your infrastructure is going to cost. No nasty surprises, no guesswork.
And it's honestly super reassuring to see testimonials in the source material from other developers, like this one from Peter, noting that once you have an integrated proxy network set up, you can finally just focus on the data itself, rather than constantly fighting servers for access. It takes the friction right out of the process.
Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today in this explainer. From firing off that very first GET request, all the way to handling massive proxy infrastructure to bypass rate limits. The real question isn't whether you know the cURL syntax anymore. It's what incredible data are you going to extract now that you have the power to scale without limits. Seriously, what's your next big project going to be?